And we're live. According to YouTube, we're live. Welcome everyone. Welcome to live streams, the weekly show where we're doing live coding and all sorts of hacking around, fooling around, and just having a good time. And I hope you also will have a good time. And as always, for the last couple of weeks, today with me, my name is Viktor Gamov. I do all things around Kafka, and today, as always, for the last couple of weeks, with me, my friend Sergei Yegorov. And Sergei, welcome to live streams. You live. Say hi to our listeners.
Hey everyone. Hey.
It's great. We don't have any active viewers. No, we do have six. Folks, let's do this one. So let's test it out. If the sound is good, it's not like it was last time when the people said, "Hey, Victor, you're too quiet," and Sergey, you're too loud, and things like that. No. The way how they said this, the another guy. Guys, come on. He's not another guy. It's a Sergey. Also known as how you call yourself now? Dread developer?
Dread developer?
Dread developer, yeah.
Yeah, that's still work in progress, but eventually, we'll do some videos as well.
So we are going live right now, and we are on a YouTube channel. If you're watching this, you probably have been here a few times in the past. So let's see. I also will run some monitoring on my side to see if our air will work. So it's been a week. It's been a week. Sergey, how are you doing? So what's new cooking? What is going on?
Oh, so far so good. Our previous episode was apparently very viral, and we had plenty of nice conversations on Twitter regarding some of the things we were talking about. You were also participating in some of them, and it was just fun to watch and to see all the reactions. Probably some were not aligned with my point of view on the topic. On the other hand, it's good to have controversial point of views so that you can have a proper conversation with someone and probably debate a little bit. We also have some other debates going on, but that I'll not be talking about. I just hope that they'll end up well for all who want them to, end up well. Yeah, and just was fun.
It was a fun week, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So welcome to live streams. We do have our regulars, Naveen from last week. Hey, hi.
Mm-hmm.
The things what we do in live streams. Pedro, hello. Artyom. Also regular.
Is a good friend, by the way. I'm happy that he joined
Anbu,
live.
Yep. Looks like no technical issues. Yeah, that's it's a sign of maturity. We're getting better at the things what we do, right? So the streaming part is, I'm not saying it's hard. It is not hard, but at least there's too many moving parts. And interesting thing, like it's just my personal observation. Based on the technology that try and tell us or like simplify things, like a Zoom, for example, we can go to Zoom with many people, and Zoom handles a lot of intricacies and all this kind of like internals of how the things work. So we taking this for granted. So, however, there's certain opinion that they put into the software like Zoom. For example, there's certain things that can be done the way how they like it. They did some optimization based on the certain like criteria of the optimization. For example, there's different codec that would be used for video, different codec used for screen sharing, because there's much more information goes through the video and versus the screen sharing. So that's why they can be more aggressive on screen sharing. So that's why you need to use like separate kind of tool within a tool. So that's why we also had to kind of reinvent this for ourselves, so we can be also productive, stay in the tool. So that's why I'm saying that it's just like not difficult. It's just too many things. Also, check this out. I have a better light, better light today. I have a better light. and rocking some of the swag from the conferences. Like it's awesome. Awesome in DC Oslo conference that was my first. I thought it would be kind of like one unique conference that just went virtual, and apparently like we want this virtual world now for a while. Yeah. Uh,
Oh,
so
this looks nice.
yeah. So what are we talking about today? So the we actually also upgraded Sergei's the audio setup. So folks, hit this like
Oh
button
yeah.
if you like how the Sergei is sounding today. Do not forget
I
hitting
guess
this.
I can also sound like Viktor does, but I'm not that close to the microphone, so I will let Viktor do the deep voice, and I will
Yeah.
continue with my medium sound voice.
So I previously used these. Actually, let's talk about setup a little bit. Because there was some questions that people were asking in the comments from yesterday. Um, I really like those small things. It's called Røde Wireless Go microphone. So it has two things. It's the receiver, and this is transmitter. And also transmitter includes a microphone. So I use this as my lav. So I can put this under t-shirt, and my hands will be free. Today I'm using my bigger microphone because I realized that I don't know. I forgot to switch. So today it's gonna be big microphone. So hopefully there would be no issues. So interesting. Now, and sort of using the condenser microphone, right? So you are bringing.
Yes, that's correct. I was looking for a good condenser microphone, and I didn't know which one to choose because there are some obvious solutions, especially if you're looking for a USB microphone around 150 to $100. And I ended up just ordering 3 microphones, and I tested all of them. And later I'll post a video where I'm just comparing them. And currently you hear my favorite microphone. I won't tell you which one is it, so that later when I do this blind test, you will also make your own decision, and then we'll compare and I'll expose which one was this microphone, which
Yeah.
one was it.
My microphone is, I guess it's dynamics. This is why I need to be very close to microphone. I believe SM7B is a dynamic. So there's one interesting question here. Um, how do you think if Zoom is using RSocket for streaming? Actually, it would be interesting to look at their technology stack. Yeah. I haven't read anything, but I believe they do a lot, kind of like their own type of protocols, because there's only way how you can start easy with like all sorts of cool tech that available off the shelf. But again, the thing I started this conversation from the very beginning
It's a
is
funny thing
yeah.
that for streaming, like for video streaming, RSocket probably is not the best protocol because it's focusing on kind of not event streaming but message streaming. So the same word, but when you think about video streaming, it makes so little sense to use RSocket. I believe it's just easier to dump the video stream into some channel, TCP or UDP channel, and that's it. Like call it a day. I mean, it could be possible to do video streaming over RSocket, I assume, but it makes so little sense, especially given that okay, back pressure can actually be a nice feature. Like imagine you want to select the strategy whether you want to drop frames or maybe you want to wait for the frames, you want to buffer them. And it's actually a very good analogy because when you're talking about the back pressure, then maybe video streaming is a very good example. And you may know that, let's say, over Skype, and I'm currently over Skype, so I'm not sure if it's happening to me at the moment or not, but imagine you're talking to your parents or your relatives over Skype, and sometimes it just lags, and then it starts, repeating everything that they were talking, and it was like it's really fast because it buffered, and then the buffer came to the Skype client, and it started playing it and rewinding it. And on the other hand, you can also choose to drop frames, because for you, maybe it's better to drop frames instead of buffering them, so that you're always up to date to the latest information. So yeah, I think it's a good analogy, by the way. But I
With
don't think that they're using RSocket.
I think it's all about using right protocol for. And when I say protocol, I don't mean like the protocol that we use, like TCP or HTTP protocol, but in general, protocol, the way how the system communicate. Right protocol for right things. I was watching the Martin Thompson talk in the QCon. He was talking about like protocols, like in general, how to structure communication, or how to people structure communication versus how to system structure communication. And if you think about this, he brought this example of HTTP and how HTTP become like very abused protocol, because it was designed to be request response, and now we're pushing like stream over HTTP. We need to break this. What's the word I'm looking for? The it's basically HTTP these days is like a full-blown leaky abstraction example. When you do like a server-sent events on top of the HTTP, it's kind of like server-side push, and you're not closing connection. You're putting something, and the reincarnation of the protocols like HTTP2 and maybe quick and like I guess HTTP3 or quick gonna be HTTP3 type of thing is slightly changing the things, because but again, like we do have a very good protocol TCP that is designed to have a a multi-directional, like bi-directional communication, and there's all you need to do is layer your data on top of it, right? But now we have a TCP, and on top of it HTTP, and HTTP 2 is also like application level protocol, right? It's not like on top of HTTP or whatnot. It's just new one. And it's such a terrible idea to implement some of the semantics that protocol was not designed. It was designed to retrieve documents over internet, and now we're building API on top of it. And he has like very interesting segue to to APIs and like REST, and personally I watched this talk only from perspective of like he was crushing some of the two-phase commit, XA, and all this distributed transaction type of jazz, which I personally not a huge fan as well. So very good talk. I probably you just just Google it, like Martin Thompson QCon protocols or something like that. So let me see. So people, are you still there? I don't see our no, I see likes, 8 likes. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for supporting us with the good word. And so what? Let's get to weeds, and we'll see. Let's see where speaking about protocols, Sergey. I remember you were talking about, we were kind of like discussing this offline as well, and how say say Kafka protocol is also like RPC based on TCP, and it is not reactive in any case. And we were talking about like what can be done on a protocol level to make it like more robust, more reactive, or whatnot. And yeah, like what's I forgot your opinion about this, so it's a good chance you to bring you.
Yeah, I think what's really missing in Kafka's protocol is that it's very micro-batching oriented. Like you request record in batches, and then you poll for the records. But it's not like you get records one by one. Instead, you get either none or many of them, like 1 to n. And this is actually the question that I get asked, or not me personally, but someone was asking in one of our chats related to reactive technologies, like what's the difference between reactive and batching? Like it sounds almost the same. With batching, you request like give me 10 items, and then you receive 10 items, which sounds similar to reactive. Like you request 10 items, you receive 10 items. But I think the big difference is how it impacts the memory and the latency, because, or maybe not the latency, maybe the throughput. But anyways, the idea is that with reactive, you get first item as soon as it's ready to be produced. While with batching, you need to wait for, let's say, 10 items to be kind of buffered in some list that can be later pushed to the consumer. And then consumer gets a list of 10 items. But then it means that you need to allocate this buffer to store these 10 items and push it to the consumer instead of just pushing items to the consumer as soon as they are ready. And a good analogy would be Java HStreams API, where previously what we were doing, let's say I want to transform a list of users to the list of usernames. In Java 7 world, we would most probably do something like new array list of strings. Then we iterate over the original list, and we add items to the previous list. Then you may also optimize it, like pre-allocate the list of 10 items if you have 10 users, or n items, where n is the number of users, and then you set by element, which is an optimization, I believe. But on the other hand, with Java 8 streams, we just start streaming from the original list, and then we transform and we collect into the new list. And then when you have just two lists, it's not a big difference. But when you have a chain of such transformations, then it's a completely different story. And I would be so happy if Kafka adds something like that, like real streaming of elements from Kafka. I think
I
some
think
other solutions do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is where we're going into the realm of things what we did in the past, and this is what the ksqdb is actually trying to do. It kind of like making um, another abstraction, but this abstraction allows to uh, on the side of abstraction optimize the way how this payload will be sent back to the consumer, to the reader. So it is why
That's cool.
the server side, the component of ksqdb is a reactive server that still kind of works on non-reactive, but the way how these like internal streams are organized, they have ability to um, not only request those as and just like get this like firehose type of style, but get
Mhm.
exactly as you said, like reactively like number of things, and after that just like, hey, hold on. So in this case, not the Kafka will be back pressure, but the ksqlDB rather would be back pressure. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, let's take a look on the chat. So some of the questions.
Yeah, we actually got quite some.
Yeah.
Or we missed some, and then we got
Hey
some new
Sai,
ones.
welcome back from he's also like joined us the oh yeah, he was yesterday. Yeah, hi, welcome back. So in your view, what the best serialization format which helps Kafka to perform well? Well, that's very good and interesting question. Sergey, what's your favorite serialization protocol, and how you can make this perform?
I guess the only answer is it depends. Like,
that's that sounds like a maturity of the software engineer or the person who like work with the different technologies in the past.
no,
Um,
I mean it's not even my opinion, but I remember someone tweeting a few days ago, I think, like it really depends. Like if you have some structured data, then most probably you would go with some binary format. Like why not? If you know the structure and you don't need to encode the fields and all that jazz, something like protobuf, let's say, or maybe you don't know the structure, you need to be fully dynamic, yet you have some sort of structures, and maybe JSON would work better, or maybe just streaming some binary data, then just push it as is, and then use headers to assign some information. So for example, I have a side project called CiMate, and we aggregate JUnit reports and other reports from test jobs, and
mhm.
then you can see a dashboard, and you see all of them basically in one place. It's really helpful when you're running on CI, because some CIs are not really, friendly for test-driven development. Just if some test fails, you have to inspect the logs. But with CiMate, basically you see a dashboard, and how it works is it's just big fat Kafka, and then everything gets uploaded to Kafka, just the binary files of the report, and then they get processed later with some, I think, just with some reactive processing, or maybe not. It's a side project, so you know, I can be talking about cool technologies, but when it comes to my own projects, it will be, full of
Opinionated
blocking
stuff. Yeah.
code, opinionated stuff, and some technologies I was using maybe 5 years ago, but I'm confident in. But it's also a good playground for some new technologies.
There's a saying that there's technologies that I like and technologies that I know how to use.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
usually like or like technology that I like, technology I know how to use, and technology that work the best. That and they usually not intersect. The jokes aside, it's again, I go find this talk, or like I just want to interrupt and put the links in here. But Martin Thompson also said very cool thing, and it's for like JSON proponents. People say, "Oh, the JSON human readable." No, it is not. Human readable is something that human writes on the piece of paper, and you can read this. It's also machine readable. It happened to have text editors can represent this JSON, so you can read this, right? Same thing with the binary formats. Oh, binary formats are not human readable. No, they are machine readable. If you cannot look into this one, it doesn't make any sense. Probably tooling is not the right. That you're not using right tooling, so you will not be able to introspect this. So it's matter of perspective, and the binary formats is always better. So for the SCI, I would say you should first of all pick the one that will fit in the business use cases, right? Binary is always great because binary solves this problem of the sizing. Usually, binary formats come with some sort of like language independency, right? Um, or independence, where there should be description or some sort of schema. So this is why like a protobuf, thrift, avro, all these formats that come with like language independent schema, and after that there are
Unless you use Java serialization or similars.
yeah, like for the Java serialization, yes, exactly. So use binary, but don't use Java serialization binary.
Oh yeah, never.
It is not. It is. Well, we can say that like it's not pretty, but gets job done. But it is not pretty because it's not easy to. And the size of the JSON or the size of the binary payload is not drastically smaller than JSON, like a text payload. So it doesn't do a good job on the compression side of things. So for the Kafka, so it's all about your SLA in terms of like how fast you promise the business to deliver your messages. If you're just doing this like research project and trying to figure out which is faster, it's probably can be like a fun thing to do, but usually I haven't done this for a while. Like all this kind of like a there was a very great project in GitHub that was about Java serialization formats and things like that. There's some really cool numbers, and they essentially what they do is just like get the object and get the bytes, and they're measuring this. They don't measuring network round trips. They're not measuring performance on the how the things will be landed in the file and things like that, right? Um, all everything is awesome except like Java serialization. So you want to go and pick and choose. And there's also some additional things that we're not talking about. Usually we're talking, oh, what's the faster? But what about what is more convenient to use? Like what format allows you to easily evolve objects and support backward and forward compatibility? What format support or allows you to integrate with different languages? Like there's much more to talk about binary than just saying, hey, what's going to be most performant? Uh, what's going to be most performant? Maybe you can write your own format that would be most performant for your use case. It would be not extensible, which is totally fine. It will be not supported by other languages, which is also fine because you build in this format to make these things performant, right? So that's my kind of answer for this type of question. But I highly recommend to look around. There's plenty of, for example, like schema registry and some serializers that comes with like schema registry. They support JSON protobuf, JSON schema protobuf, and Avro. You can have it, and even though it's a JSON schema, but it's not binary format, so look for protobuf or Avro.
You know what? Tell me, how many Avro usage you see because I mean, I assume that Confluent has a lot of statistics on
Yeah.
the performance usage, because I also see some controversial tweets from some of Confluent employees about Avro
Mm.
and overall usage and the usefulness of Avro. So I'm really curious because personally I have never had a need for Avro.
Mm-hmm.
So I always preferred some alternative formats, but also at the same time I know that it is popular. So tell me.
Yeah, it is popular, and it is. So one of the popularity of the Avro came from or inherited from popularity of Avro on Hadoop. So that's why it's like same creator of the same formats. And I guess the when it was time to choose like some binary format to support, it was more or less natural because again Kafka is a data system, right? So it came from the world of data system, and after that it was adopted for other use cases like microservices and whatnot, or messaging. So I think this is the organizations who have like a good like legacy. Legacy in a good sense. Like when I say legacy, it's not mean that legacy system, but like a good. Let's find a different word. Say heritage.
There was a joke about it, like
Heritage, not legacy.
heritage.
Heritage, yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the way. So it is quite popular. People, and again, this is argument always about using JSON versus binary. Again, human readable or not human readable. I 100% agree with the statement that if your tools cannot support it really doesn't matter if you're using like human readable or not human readable. So um, the protobuf, it's interesting, when I was on a post sale jobs like solution architecture job, when I go into the customer side and spending like a couple days with them, I was like and everyone was asking like when the protobuf will come, when the protobuf will come, when the protobuf will come, when the protobuf will come. And we finally landed like earlier, uh, like this year. Yeah, we landed this earlier this year. It was nice, and people are like, yeah, all right, cool. Now we
You
can
know,
now we can check this mark somewhere like in our internal RFI saying, oh yeah, okay, protobuf check.
you know how I call such customers?
Yeah,
Cats. Like, let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. You open the door, like, nah, I don't need it anymore. Like,
yeah, yeah,
ah,
yeah. So yeah,
or
there's
I
there's
didn't even need it.
there's opinions about the things, and the people want to kind of the for the seriousness. The protobuf was totally usable in the Kafka world even before. The only thing that people would need it is to support on the schema registry, so the schemas also would be distributed centralized storage. Um, and I guess serializers, like easy to serializers, code generation, it was there. It was there. Just like there was no integration with schema registry. That's it. So you can use the protobuf before. Even our internal team, like the team who developed the control center, they use like internal message format was protobuf essentially. That's what they did. Okay, so let's see what kind of other questions we have. So yes, if it's possible, please show how to use test containers with Kafka Consumer. We will talk about test containers today. We had the plans to do this. Also,
Yes, and we
Artyom,
actually on Twitter we promised to Anders that we will talk about it when he
yeah,
was pinging us a few
yeah.
days ago. So yeah,
We not
we'll keep
forgot
the
about.
promise.
Yep. So the Artyom is congratulate in the administration
Oh,
and all this live stream team is congratulate Sergey with joining joining reactive Foundation Advisory Council. So the thing that we talk about this on the previous episode, you can go and watch this. This is huge. Sergey now is officially like a politician and stuff.
nah, it's just it's a cool thing because instead of just you know joining companies in one foundation, they also seek for advisory councils. Um, they can be or may not be from the same companies as in the foundation, but it brings kind of a diversity to the foundation because obviously it cannot be a one company thing. If you want to build a foundation, you need to listen to as many opinions as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the role, basically. Just when there is some uncertainty, or when an opinion is needed, then advisory consoles may or may not advise on some topics, or just create some more flame wars when needed. But yeah, it's a cool thing, and there is a lot of
More, more,
nice folks
more
there.
flame wars. More. We have
Yeah,
not
of
enough.
course. But we're talking about modern technologies and reactive, so we cannot
Of
avoid
course,
flame
yeah.
wars.
There would be
Of course.
tons of flame wars. So the question to you then. So so once a foundation is established, is it is also independent, and like how like different companies can participate, or different, like what's the rules of engagements in this type of stuff, like
Hmm.
what's some people might say like, okay, so I see there's a bunch of people from company A, I don't see people from company B. And I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe they just were not interested to be involved, and they
Yeah. Yeah.
never participate in the first place. Like, do you go in like at not target, but it's like a bad word. Like, do you go and looking for people to join, or like harass them to join?
Mhm. I think both. Like, first of all, there are some well-known persons in the community that, like, we want to listen to them. We want to hear their opinions. And there's also a group of people who join the cause because there are some open calls from the Reactive Foundation. You can find the information online. And then as soon as you start bringing some value, it's very essential to invite someone to the foundation as an advisory council, or maybe if his or her company wants to participate, also the company to participate. And that's actually, I think, how I got into the foundation. I was just participating in the cause, was trying to provide some input, some ideas. Also had some projects like Liglos and others. I mean, I work on reactive framework, but I don't think that made me become a member. It's rather, some other experiences that probably they wanted to hear, or maybe not. But I don't think it's a very exclusive group of people. No, I wouldn't say so. As soon as you bring value to the foundation, or as long as your opinion is interesting to the foundation, sooner or later they will contact you. I'm pretty sure. And the Reactive Foundation, it's not top level foundation. It's actually a sub foundation of the Linux Foundation, so that a similar rules apply. In Cloud Native Computing Foundation, there are also some projects or some parts of the foundation that may not have all the companies in the world, and be very limited to a few companies who um, do all the job or do all the decision making. But it doesn't mean that the project is of this company, and just it's part of the foundation. It's not like that. So, long story short,
Yeah,
I would
it's
encourage
a it's a
everyone to
it's a
participate.
it's a politics. You're just gonna be like taking bribes, and like put the your favorite frameworks on the pedestal. This is how the people seeing these foundations.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so the Pedro have a question. Since Kafka isn't reactive, using reactive consumers like Spring Cloud Stream with Project Reactor, is it worth it? That's an interesting
Um.
question. And if I may give my
Of course,
opinion,
of course.
I think it's also goes into the similar like thing that we talked like a minute ago about like how the ksqdb aims to bring this adapter. It's not the problem. It's probably worth to use because like apart from being raw, Kafka consumer is very low level. You need to do a lot of things yourself in order to just like um, do like simple things and like dealing with the proper semantics of consuming messages and after that committing messages and things like that. This type of stuff, I'm not saying it's difficult. It's doable. It's just if you're developing your own framework, you need to know all these ins and outs. But like if you're developing some of the system that need to bring the business value and solve some business tasks, Like, do you really need go that deep? In my opinion. So yes, it's worth it. Just
I
like
just wanted
Spring Cloud
to
Streams
point
also
out.
cool
Yeah.
framework. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. I just want to point out that the Spring Cloud Stream is also they support reactive APIs, but it's not reactive first framework at the moment. Talking about Spring Cloud Stream, nor is Spring Kafka. Like with Spring Kafka, for example, you get really great programming model for Kafka, but it is
Exactly.
blocking.
Yeah. Exactly. This
And
is exactly what my point was. Like,
Mhm.
there is there's a lot of like good libraries that allow you to do some of the things much faster, and some of the libraries might have a good taste. Some libraries might have a not good taste. Some libraries allows you to do a lot. Some libraries take care of some other things. um I'm not saying that if it's like a non-blocking, if the protocol is blocking, it's not possible to use. By the way, I remember in earlier versions of Likless, you did use a reactor Kafka, right?
Reactor Kafka is another beast. It's not part of Spring Kafka nor Spring Cloud Stream. It's
Yeah.
just a library, a very isolated library in the family of Project Reactor, or in the Project Reactor family. And I'm actually currently maintaining the library, and we are trying to rework it and improve some parts of it, because the person who created the library later joined Confluent, and congrats on getting a nice contributor. But to the library, it means that it didn't get enough support as we wanted to. And then later we got more time to work on Reactor Kafka, and the next release, which is currently in RC1 phase,
Hmm.
it will contain a reworked Reactor Kafka. So I really encourage everyone to try, because it solves a lot of issues that were there for quite some time, but it's no longer the case. Some performance improvements as well. And the question is not like whether it's worse or not to use reactive processing with the blocking source, because the answer will always be yes. Reactive isn't just the performance, it's also a programming model, which is a very great programming model, I would say. And even if the source is blocking, it's not a problem, because how you process the items may be even more important than how you get them. Sometimes the bottleneck is processing, not in the sourcing of events. So yeah, I would say it makes sense to continue using reactive stuff with Kafka. Why not? Just it's not as efficient as streaming from the file system to the consumer
Yeah.
as it would be if, let's say, in a fancy world where Kafka implements RSocket, and then this zero copy thing from the file system, and that's the biggest advantage of Kafka, that you map everything directly to the file system, the blocks on the file system. They will go to the socket somehow, and then later you'll get them on your end. That's a perfect kind of way of doing it, but it doesn't mean that micro batching um, will not do the job. Like Kafka, Kafka was created even before, I think, some fancy stuff like RSocket and others. I mean, I'm sure it was created before RSocket, and it was powering a lot of huge systems. So yeah.
So speaking about the Kafka, all the fancy things and all the news that happens. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about updates. So like we just released Confluent Platform 6, so meaning it's time to update our source
Oh,
code.
nice. Congrats.
Let's do this right now. And Confluent ksqdb server just also landed with new version. So I think what we can do right now is just like a switch to our code and trying to update our dependencies and see if our code's still working. So I'll
It's
just go
been
ahead.
1 week, and we already doing an update to the major version of the platform.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what we do. And
Brave new world.
the beauty of this is because we're using containers. Like this stuff should just like work. And I hope I didn't do this previously. And I hope it won't break our live stream, because it will just like download some of the packages and things like that. So let's see if my reactive thing. I actually incorporated some of the fixes that we did on the previous show, and those changes are. I'm just looking to our translation to our like a live stream and see if we have any, the drop frames and things like that. And looks like it's getting all right. It's running good. Yeah, I was just starting the another container, bringing things in.
But what's
And
new?
yeah, so the platform itself will obviously include latest and greatest version of Kafka. So for open source part of things, we just like include 2.6. Some people just prefer to have a like a packaged version, because there's no official Apache version, and
Hmm.
so that's why people kind of relying on our open source images, and even some of the like open source libraries like test containers use like CP Kafka as a like standard the Kafka, but it's same like Apache Kafka. It's another misconception that people have this. Oh, you have this the Confluent Kafka. There's no Confluent Kafka. There's Confluent Server that based on Apache Kafka, and it includes some additional sets of plugins like RBAC, some schema validation, and some server-side schema validation and things like that. So um, container exited with 126, and it says permission denied to test container. This is not mine. This is not mine. This is something that comes with the test containers. And I will, in this case, I will pass the microphone to my colleague that will try to discover and investigate what the hell is going on there. So
Awesome.
this is like how the professional live streamer like juggling around with the um, with the ideas. So yeah, that's I was talking about the code with the test. Just go ahead and just do it in your way.
Okay, so let me. So I still see your screen. I guess my screen is currently presented, but anyways,
Yeah, yeah. You see
um,
my screen because you
so
wanted
we
to
just
do it.
updated the version, right?
Yeah, and the thing is just updating the version.
Okay, what we will be doing is let's just write some tests for that in test containers.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are about to contribute to test containers. I would lie saying that it's unscripted. Um,
Yeah, because the,
Confluent
the the morning
Kafka.
started with the people are like talking stuff in Twitter, and sending the issues in GitHub, and people sending issues to GitHub, and Sergey sending issues to my Telegram, and I just woke up. Okay, so let's see what was wrong. So yeah, that's we using live streams as a how it's called. Uh, as a
It's an opportunity
his
to finally
opportunity.
fix some
Exactly.
bugs. Yes.
Exactly.
But back to what I was trying to say is that I would like that it was unscripted, but I haven't tried to fix it yet. So we will try to fix it live. Who knows how it will go? Maybe we will not be able to fix it like in 5 minutes, or you know me, my 5 minutes means like 30 minutes, and then we end up stream saying that maybe next time.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
at least like we'll try. So the to Artyom's comment in the chat. So yeah, images are pretty big though. I think we were trying to fix some of the problems in the with the size, but like apart from like including bunch of jars, there's not much that we can do. So that's why it will take some time to download this. So while Sergey is downloading, let me bring back to our conversation. Um, the I remembered. So all the images will include Java 11. So all starting from CP.6, Java 11 would be like a baseline. And like if you say, for example, like you are using some of the container connectors and want to use like Java 11. So if you inherit or like start your building your image, connect image from base image from Confluent Platform 6, you'll get Java 11. This is something. It's another like a big thing. So, Sergey, switching back to your screen,
Yep.
and what do we see?
That's
a good question. And
no, actually,
I will check some of the comments on Twitter.
You see my screen, and I guess I'm currently, yeah, I should do it more like this, I suppose. But anyways, it seems that our hack or hackish way of doing Kafka with random ports doesn't work anymore with permission failed or permission denied. But this sounds like an easy one. Let's have a look. Container exit with code. Yeah, I expected that. Can start container. Okay, cool. There's also should be like output will follow. Just let me scroll down.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, called doom scrolling.
Oh. Yeah. Doom debugging.
Doom scrolling, yeah.
So let's have a look. But and as I said, I haven't tried to fix it yet, so I'm actually debugging test containers at the moment. And if you want to contribute, by the way, please, you're more than welcome. Always, we prioritize contributions over our own things we are doing, unless we are overloaded with some critical fixes or something. So please do contribute. But I suppose the issue is here. So we create the file, and then when we attempt to execute this file, it fails. So just to test it, I'll do something like lessLay plus this, and like this.
So we want to see the current permissions of the file.
Yeah. So I think you changed the user.
So yeah,
and I'm pretty sure I can verify that.
One of the requests were like the not allowed to run some of the like root things. I think they changed the way how the containers will start.
Okay, that's most probably what's happening. Like when we copy file to container, we set file mode to 700. So let's just try it. And before lessLay, I just want to do who am I, then lessLay, and we run it again.
I would suggest, Sergey, there is a very cool command that I probably even you did recommend this, but ctop. So ctop that allows to see the container.
Yeah. I did share the command and I now forgot about it, but anyways, now it's a matter of typing fast. There's something that's, you know, at the back of your head, like you know that you can do Docker PSA and boom.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a good suggestion. I think I have ctop. Oh no, I don't have ctop on this machine. Cool. But anyways, we see that we are running as app user, and the file is created as root. So we obviously are getting permission denied. I think the easiest would be to just, so first of all, let's revert this one. And this one, we'll just change it to file mode 777, just to verify my hotfix. It's a cool thing. I didn't know that copy file to container uses the root user and not the current user from the image. I wonder if we can change it.
Copy file to container is a piece of the test containers API.
Yes, it's a piece of test containers API, but then we use standard copy archive to container command from Docker API. Let's inspect once again.
Why volumes will not be sufficient?
Why? It doesn't work. Volumes. Because they are using file system to do the whole thing. And imagine you are running pardon. Imagine you are running your test on host A, and the Docker is located on host B. So you're attempting to mount something, and then you'll be assuming that you're mounting a file from host A, but actually it will be
Right.
file on host B
Yeah.
that will be missing.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm forgetting about this use case, and this is actually quite powerful, and I don't know why people don't use this like more often. In my opinion, it's pretty cool to kind of run like have a some of the coordinator that runs the test, and there's like Docker with more beefy machine runs somewhere else.
Oh wow. So I changed the permission, and it seems that 777 didn't work as I expected.
Not exactly
Rather,
what.
it's messed up. Because I think because I'm stupid, shouldn't be in octet format.
I don't know. This is your API.
Let me have a look.
So now, ladies and
So
gentlemen, we're looking how to hack around inside the test containers Java and how it works.
it's so much fun, not. But yeah, we solve these things for you so that you don't have to. That's the whole idea. Okay.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, how you write open source library. You put in comments like in a code, and they are actually useful. So someone will read this in the future.
Yes, actually, it is useful indeed. And let me just find the relevant piece that I'm looking for, because I think I need this. File mode. Get file mode is the one we returned, and okay, I can do the binary format for this one. Guess. God help me. Like set mode, and here's Apache Commons compress. I wonder if I can just.
Can you use
It's so embarrassing.
how?
Okay,
Yeah.
Commons compress, file mode. So that's what we do. We Google, and then we search for the first entry from Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow, execute. This isn't helpful, is it? 0.7. Oh, okay.
So yeah.
So
0.7.7. Yeah.
I guess I can just do it like this. And this is like the best file mode. Not really, but yeah.
It's a testing, right? So it again, when we're not doing anything harmful to production, and this is just the way how we can test our environment. So essentially, that's. So Sergey, you released the RC version today, and I guess this is you did this like too soon. So Zookeeper's still not coming up for some reason.
We released RC for the Docker issue because Docker just released 2.4.0 Docker for Mac, and then they broke some of the things we were using. Like when you mount the socket, we had a hacky way of doing it because on Windows you have to use //var run docker.sock, and that's the requirement because otherwise it won't work. On Mac, however, we can just use /var run blah blah. But on POSIX systems, apparently can do multiple slashes, and it won't affect the result. Like I can just, let's say, go let's create some dear, like it's the hardest part, like how to name folder, temporary folder.
Full bar.
No, it's not funny.
Viktor Sergey.
Hello team, please unblock me on Twitter. Yeah, let's do it like this. So I'm currently in this folder, right? And I can do lay tmp load team and stuff, but I can also do tmp and then many slashes and the same result, because on POSIX system usually you can have multiple slashes, and the same with prepending it with multiple slashes. Apparently, it's only true on Linux systems, and on POSIX systems, double slash at the beginning may also mean something else. And Docker just optimized the file system access by using something called gRPC fuse. And apparently this gRPC fuse has a behavior change and it no longer works with // So our hacks that we were using doesn't work anymore. So we had to release a version. But I really encourage everyone to try 1.15.0 because there is a lot of cool things inside. And we are also reworking our constructors and how we work with images. So please have a look. So we fixed one issue, but then we have another one. Zookeeper does not start for some reason unknown to me. Let's just have a look. And as you can see now, when Kafka fails to start, there's also a cool thing because it will print the logs, not Kafka, but any container
with log consumer
test containers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here I can just inspect the logs. This is interesting. Maybe nope. It's all right. Let's just scroll down. So it cannot connect to Zookeeper.
Yes.
So probably there is some behavior change
on
in
the Zookeeper side
well.
of things. So let's take a look on Zookeeper container. What is going on?
So we have start Zookeeper as a sub command that we run to start.
Can you run a Zookeeper as a? It's not running. I don't remember if it's running like a separate container or it's run somewhere.
We have two modes, like one with separate container, and I'm pretty sure if I start separate Zookeeper
with
like
networks,
this. Yeah. Oops. Let's just do it like this so I can refer to it. With external Zookeeper, what was the port? 2181. Yes.
2181. Yeah, and the network is incorrect.
Let's just use network shared. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna work just fine. I don't need this, so I run this test once again, and it should be good. I didn't start Zookeeper. Perfect. But now we have to figure out why Zookeeper does not start. And I do hope that we can fix it with just some permission fix or something, because otherwise we would need to differentiate Kafka container definition per Confluent platform version, which isn't fun.
Which is not ideal. Yeah, it's totally not fun.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting Zookeeper provided by Confluent as well.
And I think you're running like you can use a very old version. And again, is there Zookeeper image from Apache?
Yeah, I think there is. Let me just do a blind guess. Apache Zookeeper. Please not 404. Damn it, it's 404.
Yeah.
Docker hub Zookeeper Apache. Oh, it's just Zookeeper. Yeah. But yeah, official image. That's cool.
So here's the thing with the platform and Kafka. Even Kafka uses special version of Zookeeper. Like if you're running, okay, so still not connecting to Zookeeper for some reasons.
Because network aliases Zookeeper. Is it the same? Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah. Can you run the version of container that would be the same?
It's just no. I think it's it should be fine. I mean, I could use the 6th version of Zookeeper, but it's something else. I'm pretty sure I'm missing something obvious. So let me just apply some formatting, because I hate formatting it like this, and I may spot the issue. We are using the same shared network. We says that Zookeeper should have an alias, and I don't think that using a dedicated network would fix it, but let's give it a try. Like this.
Whole point of using shared network was
Shared network is just predefined network. So if you use network.shared, it's actually just a predefined network that we created for you. It's actually useful when you have things that should be on the same network, but you don't care about conflicts of aliases or anything, and the keeper fails to start. That's probably the reason why it says that the keeper client port. Oh, because I'm stupid. Because I commented out this one, and I don't know why I did so. I have also no idea why it's required, why not default, but okay, let's just assume that it's me messing around with things.
Yeah, I think it's something even not a part of it's not a part of container. It's part of Zookeeper itself.
Green. So it works with external Zookeeper. Let's just remove it because we don't need it. The question is, why doesn't it work with
internal Zookeeper?
Internal Zookeeper. And for this one, actually, you know what I would do? I'll just put a breakpoint here and debug this one. And I'm pretty sure I can reproduce this command on CLI. Just do it like this. Copy value. Copy s. Docker exec it cab. Oh, it's very nice, very convenient. Just cab. Keeper. And my external monitor wants to shut down. No, I'm not that boring. Please wait another minute or something. Could not found command, or command not found. The keeper server start. Oh well. So it seems that you removed the command as well. Please tell me that the keeper server start. It's actually there.
It's there, like, because how else you would start?
App user, but if I was it like this? Oh, okay. And I do it like this. Keeper server start.
Still there.
Okay. Let's do it like this. Really? Then opt. I think it's in opt. Nope. Then the app user. Nope. Do you remember what app is located?
USR.
I mean. Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's try to be more precise what we want to do. Like this.
Yeah.
And what I'll do this time, I'll just debug this part when we call exec start.
So what I like about CTOP, it allows me to see the logs like from the container. You can just like pick up a container from the list of containers and just like go there immediately.
Okay, I have no idea how to inspect the logs of exec start, by the way. So I think I'll just ignore this fact and I'll try to continue executing this thing.
Until it will work.
Launching Kafka, connection refused.
So Zookeeper didn't start there. So it's not running yet.
I think it's not a big deal. We can. What can we do? Oh, actually, you know what? I think I'll just redirect the output into a file. Probably. Logs. Log containers.
Can you do so this Zookeeper, it runs inside some containers or
The same container.
Can you log consumer? Use log consumer?
Oh, okay. I know what's going on. It's not that, but rather the current directory. We cannot write to /zookeeper.properties under the current user. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of things we were doing wrong, actually, in this class, and I wrote most of it, so please blame me, not the rest of the team. But on the other hand, it's very easy to fix, I think. Yes.
Here we go.
Awesome. Okay. So it seems that actually we can just run the same with the default image, which is 5 point something.
Yeah.
And it should work just fine.
Yeah,
and
it
if
will.
it works, we'll
Because
submit
if it worked
pull
with
request.
if it worked with this like a higher permission rules, so it should work with lower permission rules, how it was before, which is actually good thing. It's I don't want to say like it's a staple of thing that people are actually using this. Yeah, people using this, and we had to fix some of the security issues. And also we didn't I didn't try to run the UB images, like this unified binary image from Red Hat, because
What's
there's
that?
so essentially it's a concept that they have, that they providing this not binary, it's a unified base image. So the base image that they always keep up to date, and once you're inherit your software from it, you'll get automatic updates. And there's some of the customers that we have might have say requirement not to run Debian based or run only Red Hat based. So that's why it's very easy to swap for say in the production, say like they're running some of the more restrictive like a orchestration system like OpenShift, and there's certain rules needs to be enforced. Once you're following or like where you extending their image, that image already like designed to be successfully running inside OpenShift.
You know what? You was talking about it, and I just got an idea. So have you heard of the rootless Docker?
Yeah.
New hot thing in the Docker world.
I heard about this. I didn't have a chance to investigate, and like this is what we do in live streams. You can talk about this for me.
Yeah, I guess we can do a live stream about different options of running Docker. But what I just wanted to say is that I got this idea that with rootless Docker, you can actually run process without having to have a proper daemon. You can also do the same with Podman, of course, but Podman isn't Docker fully compatible. But the idea I had is that in theory we could ship some packages. Let's say I want to run Kafka, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of running Kafka as a jar, let's say, or something, I could ship a Docker image and rootless Docker, and then you just start /Kafka on Linux machine, of course, and it starts Kafka, but inside a Docker image with all the system libraries required, and maybe with random port. It's up to the user to decide, but it may actually change the way we distribute some of our software.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking out loud. So yeah, let's contribute. Let's push a fix, and I hope that I'm not pushing to to the master branch as I usually do. Yeah.
That's
I have
luxury.
never done this on purpose.
Luxury to have the contributor rights.
Okay, so don't worry. Next release we'll have it included, and modules Kafka, and it's a bug. Should we code a bug? Okay, it's a bug actually.
I think it's a bug.
Yeah, I think like this thing and other thing, we could make it better. Yeah. Okay, YOLO. I'll just submit an empty pull request. It's an obvious pull request, so we can just take a look at the files. You don't need to read the description or anything. I'm just joking. I'll fix the description later so that we are not wasting time at the moment.
Unless like Kevin or Richard will go there and saying, "Hey, okay, Sergey's doing something right. Let's approve it." Next, Lex, the next time, you promised me last time. You promised me to show how we can
Yes.
speed these things up and the push or like send the patch to me so I can play around
Oh yeah,
um
let's do that.
in this one. So let's do this. So essentially in the test, what I do, I have a container of Kafka, container of scheme registry, container of ksqdb starts before all the tests,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, the tests are just fly. All the things are just like
Uh-huh.
super fast. Now, we can do like would be great to optimize. Um,
Mm-hmm. One thing I noticed that you are using, you're not using the rules, you're just using .start, which
yeah,
is absolutely fine by me. That's how I prefer to use test containers. I know that many users are using the JUnit integration or some other frameworks like K-test, something for Kotlin. They integrated with test containers on their side just recently, so they can use some fancy ways of programmatically configuring test containers for your Kotlin test,
yeah,
which is very nice, I would say. But yeah, the way I prefer doing it, I just .start the containers,
yeah.
and that's what you did. So good job. The only question is whether you really need to start them one by one, and that's a
uh,
question to you.
I think yes. So once I have a Kafka in scheme registry started, rest of the components are not necessarily need to be started one by one, but the scheme registry needs to run after Kafka would be up and running. So that's why I need to run this one by one. And start is actually guarantees me to do that.
Mm-hmm. Even the schema registry.
So scheme registry depends on Kafka. Scheme registry needs to, when in order to start, it needs to create the topics, or at least like validate the topics needs to be, connected there. So
Okay,
sure,
apparently
sure,
Kafka returns abstract ksqdb server. You
yeah.
may consider using the self-typing. The thing we are doing, is it this the same source code? Yeah, I think it's the same source
Yeah.
code. Yeah, like
So
if you add something like, no, it's read-only. Like I cannot change it.
y-
And this one is read-only.
you can grab this from the um,
Or I can do it like this.
yeah. So
Hotfix.
here's the thing. I'm using this because in the past there was two distributions of KSQL. There is one that comes with the Confluent platform and it has a different
Mm-hmm.
version, and
Mm-hmm.
another one is a kind of like a open source, so like the release cycle more shorter. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to have maybe I should have a like kind of uh, the factory method that will create
Mm-hmm.
these flavors. But like I just like as a very hot fix, I just created the
Mm-hmm.
abstract SQL server that they totally the same. They're using the same containers, but the
Mm-hmm.
name of the image is different. So
Okay, I see. Um, yeah, I think it's fine by me, and I believe here using abstract ksql server makes a lot of sense actually. Like your test should work with any ksql server, so we are doing constant improvements, right?
hmm yeah.
So, what I wanted to say is that, oh, first of all, I assume that changing it to this Kafka should not change things because, yeah, it's not using the state. Yeah, should be fine. Um, I'll just move this one here as well. Why not? And let's have a look at the start process. So we start Kafka, we start schema registry, we start ksql server. One thing I would recommend doing here is doing something like stream of Kafka, schema, and ksql server, and then startables.
It also comes
Start.
from.
From test containers. So this
hmm
startable is just utility class, so they can, since every container implements startable interface, which is start, stop, and dependencies that we'll be talking later. Um, there is an utility, and it's called deep start because it will scan the hierarchy, will build a graph. So yeah, we're doing some graph processing in test containers.
Right.
And then you can design a graph of containers. Similar to maybe depends on in Docker Compose,
Or
I assume.
in a Gradle, I guess, similar, if you can
Yeah,
be.
yeah, for tasks. Just
Yeah, I like
yeah,
that. Yeah, I like that. Like less lines of code. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. But in this form, it will start everything in parallel. So we're getting some speed improvement. And actually, before I change anything, I want to run it like this. Maybe it will work, maybe not. Let's just run
yeah,
a random test.
I have a feeling that we might fail on schema register side of things. So the way how it works, the during the startup, KSQL, or is it? So during the startup, I need to know the URL. So in order to know the URL, I need to start the container. In order to know URL, I need to know the host name and port.
On the other hand, you're using the network support, which means that the alias will be static. So we don't actually need to know the IP of the started Kafka. You just need to point it to some alias, some host. And I'm not sure whether it's resilient. Like, does it retry if Kafka is not running yet? We will see.
There is a script that allows to do that. Like, I'm not sure if we actually like a call in it during the startup. That would be interesting to see.
Let's give it a try. I think I'm running something. I hope that it's starting. No, it's still probably it's downloading some images. Did you update the images?
No, you did. Like use the 6. Okay. We will use
No,
5.5 for now. We're using 5.5 for now because the hotfix in the test containers is not doesn't exist.
Okay,
I
then
think
let's
it's
just
something
wait.
wrong. It's initializing test. It's not doesn't do anything.
Oh, I know what's going on. It's actually yes, and that's the thing. Remember I told you about this behavior change in Docker? So yeah, basically I need to do this.
Okay, because
Otherwise,
you
test
already
containers won't work.
updated Docker here locally on your machine.
Yes, and yeah, it's a what could possibly go wrong when you update Docker 1 hour before the live stream? But I'm really happy that we released a new test containers version earlier today, so that you can benefit from it, and the same way as we will do, and we will not lose our streams pace.
Yeah.
That. But now after the update, oh yeah, it's starting. Perfect.
So I see 15 people still watching, and I see only 9 likes. Folks, we can do better. Just hit that like button.
Yes, please do. So it seems that the ksqdb fails, but it's not a big deal. I mean, we don't have to change this, right? What we can do is using this depends on Kafka, because if it depends on Kafka, then we can use depends on, well, Kafka. And then when we'll attempt to start these 3 containers, it will hit the KSQL server. And imagine we hit the KSQL first. It will see that there is a dependency on Kafka. And instead of proceeding with starting KSQL, it will first obtain a future to the Kafka start. And if Kafka is not started yet, it will start Kafka first.
So it will just like sit there on the get when you try to get the Kafka feature. Yeah.
And by the way, it's important to notice that deep start returns completable future. So don't forget to .join. Otherwise, it will be starting asynchronously, and it will continue, doing things, and it's not gonna work as you probably expected to work. But we can do depends on Kafka. And compared to Docker Compose, because here what we are doing is something like Docker Compose. We define 3 containers. We have a network to join these containers into a single network. The question is, why not Docker Compose? And there are many reasons, and I'm not a fan of Docker Compose, but I have a very good argument. Like here, when we say depends on Kafka, it means that Kafka will start. Kafka will pass all the wait strategies you define it. Let's say if you want to override like waiting for wait strategy, for house check. If you have house check in Kafka image. The cool thing is that these wait strategies may also be some advanced ones like with JDBC, where we run select one, like real select one. And here, just define it depends on Kafka. So let's run it again. I don't think that schema registry really have to be running before KSQL server. Probably not.
It might. Why Kafka container is deprecated? It shows deprecated.
The constructor is deprecated. That's a very good question. Thanks. The thing is, in 1.15, we deprecated constructors where it's not an image. So if it would be something like, let me find. Okay, if it would be something like this, then it would be fine. I mean, if we originally accepted the image. But I did a mistake. Once again, blame me. And instead of accepting the image, I was accepting the
Version.
tag.
Yeah.
Yes, the version of the Confluent platform. The idea was that Confluent platform the image must be Confluent platform. Because we rely on some scripts from Confluent platform. So it's not Kafka container, it's actually Confluent platform container.
Yeah.
Also, it has all we need for Kafka. But sometimes you need an alternative image. You need to provide an alternative image. For that, we introduced a special mechanism. So first of all, it will be Docker image name parse 6.0, let's say, or
so maybe at this point, like I don't need to have like my abstract ksqdb.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah, and just go on. Okay.
Imagine I'm pushing this image to my private registry.
Yeah, you need to provide the
Confluent CP Kafka.
Right.
The thing is, we do check that the image is compatible with Confluent CP Kafka. And now if you have fancy Kafka, and you know that you have all the scripts required to run it as we assume, then you can do something like as compatible substitute for Confluent Inc. CP Kafka. So now it can be any image, and you explicitly opt in for the compatibility with the image we assume, which is really cool because now you can use alternative,
So what I need to do in my code to support this in the ksqdb container? So
in ksqdb container, just so deprecate empty constructor because like really the users should decide which image they want to use and which version they want to use. They don't want us to update Kafka to version 6, Kafka platform to version 6, just by updating test containers dependency.
Yeah.
Then two constructors, basically one with just the image, probably. Another one is Docker image name. And then you can do something like Docker image name assert compatible with, and then a list of images that you need to check the compatibility. It's so that it can be Confluent Inc. CP Kafka and a few others.
Yeah. Okay. And in this case, yeah, that would be much nicer. I will fix that.
And as you can see, it's working just fine. So we optimize it, the test, by starting schema registry and Kafka in parallel. It's not a big deal, but at least some improvement, which is still better than just starting things one by one. But what I wanted to say is that it would be cool, and let's say it like this, it would be cool to kind of reuse these containers so that we don't have to wait for the start. And that's the reusable containers mode that we have in test containers as an experimental feature. Be careful. Where is the annotation? Oh, never mind. But anyways, it would be cool if we can just do something like with reuse.
Yeah.
And I have no idea whether it will work or not, what I'm doing at the moment. I haven't prepared myself, but I do hope that it will work. If we enable the reusable containers mode, and if I run this test, then it won't work as we expect. I mean, the test will pass. So let's just inspect Docker PS. It's starting a bit longer. As you can see, we're starting CP Kafka and CP schema registry, and then eventually we'll be starting ksql server, as expected. So we're starting them, and as you may know, test containers will always perform the cleanup, so you'll never get dangling containers, let's say.
But in the contrast to Docker
Compose.
Yep.
Yeah. But with reusable containers, you get the opposite. We keep the containers running even if your tests already passed, so that you can reuse the same containers later.
Yeah, that would potentially will spin up consecutive runs.
Yep. So in theory, I should be able to run the same test and see the result, but we will see that it's not going to work as I expect. You see, we start a new instance of Kafka like 2 seconds ago. So something is not working as we expected. And the reason for that is because we use hashing for starting the containers. And the thing with hashing is that if you use something random,
it's good when it's consistent.
yes, exactly, straight to the point. So it's good when the hashing is consistent and when the inputs are the same.
Yeah.
But in this case, the network name is randomized. Like if we look at this one, name is just some random UID. And actually, if we inspect, let's say, ksql server, we go here and we should see something like labels org test containers hash. Okay, this hash and then copied files, they also hashed. But network settings aren't the same. So yeah, it's random network, and the alias is also random.
So yeah, I won't be able to use network here.
No, you won't in the current state of the feature because it's alpha quality feature. But what we can do,
my favorite quality is the alpha quality.
Yes, what we can do, however, is we can hack around things by doing something like network get ID, and then if we get some network ID, and I'm speeding it up just to make it shorter, or actually, you know what, we can use something like, what was it, reactor ksqdb. Okay, let's do it like this. And we reuse, we give it an alias with alias. So we try to bring it to the same
same network.
Yeah, same network, same set of inputs. Now we do it like this. If it works, I'll be so surprised. And I also exposed, a backdoor, but it's fun.
Something
no,
is
it doesn't
wrong.
work because what? Not far. Okay, yeah. Okay, you know what? Let me just Docker network create. So
can you do this through API? Like you can just new network, and after that, yeah.
In fact, you can do something like network builder. ID is deprecated, but nothing prevents us from doing like this. for now. Next time you have to implement the interface. And once again, it's just a hack to speed up something. So we have the containers running, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now the moment of truth. So this test started at 30:24 and 51. So it took like 17 seconds, which is pretty impressive, by the way, and build success in 32 seconds. So we run the same test again, and I do hope that it will work. Now it starts a new set. Why? Because... Okay, there's probably something else that messes up. Or maybe, oh yeah, because...
The previous one, network, the two networks with ksqdb, right? No, it's one.
Mm-hmm.
So try to run this once again.
Mm-hmm. So just turn off the old attempts. Now it starts new one.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, I think that's conclude today's show, and this is how we're doing this. We're doing cliffhanger as we always do in these live streams. It's unfortunate that we have other things to do in life, so we cannot do just full live streams and things like that. So um, so I hope you learned something today. I hope you learn some of the bits inside the test containers and how test containers handles Kafka, and you've seen now how you can contribute some test container stuff. So we will continue to talking about this also probably next week. While we continue talking about this, right? I extremely grateful that I have a incredible partner in crime here for our improvised live streams podcast here. Apparently, we're doing a podcast now. Everyone is doing podcasts these days.
Videocast.
Videocast. So, Sergei, thank you so much for your time. Folks who watching this offline, don't forget to write the comments, subscribe to our Twitter, and send us tweets if you want to learn something through these live streams. Again, we continue to talk about this reactive thing. Today, we did a little bit, one of those mornings. You wake up, there's like a war on fire, people asking to fix something, and we decide, hey, let's fix this in the runtime. So we did a little bit segue to a test containers world where I use it. I use it. I use it a lot. I love it, and I extremely extremely grateful for having this type of framework in my life. And so next time we'll continue to do reactive stuff. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, get notifications, like ring the bell and all this type of stuff. And thank you. And how we usually say in this show, as always, have a nice day. And the Sergei is continue to is continue to do the stuff. So
I am, but I figured what was the problem, and we'll share what was the problem later.
Yeah,
or
we'll
maybe
share
next
this
time.
for the next time. Yeah, we'll start with this one. So and as always, have a nice day. And like